It was 3 in the morning, so it's dark, and it had rained a couple days before, and I saw fresh moose tracks, what looked to be a cow and a calf. At 3 in the morning, pitch black, you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's not a very comforting thing, to know that this animal could be anywhere right now. But yeah, they're cool. I mean, other than that, I haven't had any issues with bears or...
Well, that's good.
Really,
that's a positive thing.
Yeah, really anything else. Oftentimes, I think it's more just to keep my mind happy. If I'm bushwhacking in the dark, which is a completely different chapter, I'll carry a bear bell, just in hopes that they hear me well before I, come upon them. Because you don't want to spook an animal in the middle of the night.
Certainly not. And I always tell people, especially people who don't spend any time on the trail, the woods are a very different place at night than they are during the day. So to take those extra precautions definitely helps the mind at ease too, because woods are a weird spot at night. Personally, you're always out there.
They're completely different at night. I remember my first sunrise hike. It was just Rattlesnake Mountain in Willsboro. Tiny little mountain, but you heard like toads or chipmunks or whatever. I mean, they sounded like these giant beasts crashing through the woods.
Come alive at night.
Yeah, and it was like, what is this? I mean, it makes you hike really fast. I got to the summit in no time.
Sure.
So yeah, over the years, every time I go out there, I try to push my limits a little bit and face some of those fears. And yeah, lately I've been bushwhacking at night, to get somewhere for sunrise, or I catch a sunset and then I hike out. And that, I mean, I don't recommend it to people. Just it's completely different. I'm just trying to get better with the compass that's in my head. And when you take out all reference points, you got to really trust that little voice. And you don't have a mountain in the distance to aim to, or the sun to keep over your right shoulder. Like, it's just pitch black, but it makes you slow down and look at the woods differently. Trees look different. The shadows look different. Like, it's cool. It's definitely cool. And like I said, it's kind of nice to look back at that first hike where I was so scared to be in the woods in the night. And now, I'm out there in the middle of nowhere by myself. It's cool. So
you're throwing yourself into these situations that are going to naturally make you better out in the woods.
Yeah. I mean, every time I go out, whether it's, a trail hike or a bushwhack or whatever it may be, I learn something new, whether it's like, I should have brought this gear, or this food doesn't work, or, seeing a tree and like, well, what kind of tree is that? Or I just always try to improve. And I feel like I said, every hike, I come away with something that I gain, which is cool. So not only are you, out there getting these great views and having an active lifestyle, but like, you're learning. And that's how I got into all this stuff. Like, my dad had me in the woods when I was a young age. So like, he taught me, the basics. And as I got into hiking, growing up in Lake Placid, I couldn't tell you what mountain was what, staring off at the high peaks. And now, I know most of their names, and I've been on most of them, which is cool. But it took a long time. I mean, like I said, 5.5 years really isn't that long to be hiking, but I've tried to soak up as much as I can. There's a lot of great resources out there in book form. Spencer actually has a book called The Other 54, which, you've got your 46 high peaks and then the other 54 that make up the highest 100 mountains in the Adirondack Park. So I picked that up probably like the first year I started hiking, and just reading that and trying to understand what those mountains were like. And it was definitely different. I mean, it's different than hiking on the trails for sure. But yeah, a lot of great resources. So if anyone wants, a little bit, to learn more, highly suggest that book. There's a lot of other great books out there. Eric Schlemmer has some great books. He's a big bushwhacker. He moved out to Colorado recently, but he's done some really cool stuff. Other good reports on some of the forums, not so much Facebook, but there's still, some forums out there that exist, where a lot of the older guys will post their stories. Neil Luckhurst, He's in his 60s now, and he's still doing amazing things. A couple winters ago, he did Project 100, which was doing a single season winter highest 100, which single season winter 46 is big. Like,
absolutely.
That's huge, and tons of respect for anyone who's done that. But yeah, Neil went out there and did that, and he actually finished. It was his 62nd birthday that he finished.
Unbelievable.
And so guys like that, I mean, I've learned a lot about them, and they've certainly motivated me, and just gives me something to look forward to. It's like these guys are doing it in their 60s, so like got a long way to go, and so many more mountains to explore. And Spencer, I remember when I first started getting into bushwhacking, or I'd find a mountain. I was like, I'm going to do a Google search, see if someone's been up there. And I feel like almost every mountain that I looked up, Spencer had something on. He had a lot of great articles on the lakeplacid.com website. And just, brief descriptions, but it kind of gave me a little better understanding of what I was getting into. So, yeah, tons of great info out there. Constantly learning new stuff all the time, and more than happy to help others.
Sure.
Spencer, he was a role model for me, and all these other guys, and they've all been very welcoming and helpful. And, it's kind of cool now that I've done some stuff that he hasn't. So we're kind of helping each other with some stuff, which is
awesome,
which is a lot of fun. I definitely will not hand out my GPS tracks. I will not make it super easy. I'll give you pointers and make sure you're safe, and join you if I can. But like I said, half of the fun is doing the research. It really
and this
is.
This is not just going to hike up Mount Morrissey on the trail. This is a different level of exploring in the woods. So you should have to earn it in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get a sticker. You're not going to get a patch. You could tell somebody went up this mountain, chances are they've never even heard of it. So, I mean, you're doing it simply because you love the woods. And a lot of people hear this and be like, no, I'm good. Like, I don't want to get whipped in the face by tree branches all day and ruin all my clothing and shred my pack. And it's just not an interest. I've brought some friends out in the woods, and they haven't returned. We're still friends. We just don't bushwhack anymore. And that's fine. Some people, they can hike the high peaks over and over and over. That's cool. I respect that. And some people are out doing, crazy ultra events or fastest known times, and that's cool too. Hike your own hike and have fun and respect the woods, and that's what it's all about. It really is. That's what keeps me going.
Sure. I was just about to ask you, what are the reasons that you put yourself through these, strenuous hikes? But I think you just pretty much summed it up, why you're out there bushwhacking off trail.
Yeah, it's just that reward that you get. One of my most rewarding climbs, it was actually when Neil was working on Project 100. His final mountain, I wanted to break trail for him. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go there by myself, and I'm going to break out this trail, so your final peak is going to be easy and enjoyable. Like, he deserved it after doing all of those. And it took me 8.5 hours to go 3 miles. It was awful. 2 feet of snow a couple days before. Wicked hard hike. But I got to the top completely socked in, no view whatsoever. And that was the same year I became a winter 46er. And that bushwhack was more rewarding for me. It was cool just to take on those challenges and challenge that little voice in your head that's saying, go back home. It's cold. Like, go eat a burger and have a beer and relax. Like, you don't want to do this. And, it's that constant mental and physical battle, but it's nice to overcome that.
Mind over mountain.
Yeah, it's just super, super rewarding. And, there's plenty of days. Today I went out, did 3 little peaks. Really, most people would be like, why are you doing this? Like, there's no view. But beautiful forest, cool, filtered views through the trees. It was great. And then there's other days where you get on a mountain and you say, wow, out loud. And there's no one else up there with you. You're just blown away by the view. I mean, those days are awesome. You know, you just get energized, and it certainly keeps you going. I just love being in the woods. You know, it's simple as that. Whether it's a tough day or an easy day or, you know, whatever it may be, I just love being out there.
So now if somebody wants to take you guys up on going out on a hike with you, where can they find you to do that?
I spend most of my time on Instagram.
Okay.
It's usually less drama, you know, and my little project is I call it ADK Peak Survey. It's just me surveying the peaks and seeing what's up there and documenting it and having fun with it. And my goal is to at least hit 2,500 different peaks, document what's up there and different things. Not really a guide or anything like that, but just more along the lines of a survey log of, what really got me into this was like I said, looking at the maps and being like, oh, I wonder what's up there. I wonder what's over there. I wonder if anybody's ever been there. And, they've got a name for a reason, I do it because it's there. And that's, I'm more than willing to, I like bringing people out in the woods. I really do. And there's just so much out there. And if I can introduce somebody to something new, that just, I get big enjoyment out of that. I'm not a huge solo hiker like Sam is.
And I'm only solo just because it's
necessity.
Not many people like doing
no,
this.
They don't.
I mean, when Spencer and I, when things line up, we get out together, which is good. And, for anyone that's wants to get into this or, kind of expand their hiking abilities, highly, highly, highly recommend going with someone else. Just going back to all the stuff that can go wrong. You got to be safe out there, and rangers are busy enough as it is. The last thing we need is them out there trying to find someone literally in the middle of nowhere.
We got a pretty small, close-knit group of people that go fairly often.
Yeah, super nice people.
Yeah.
We're not racing by any means. I mean, that's the nice thing with bushwhacking is it's slower pace.
Yeah.
You're taking in the views. You're looking at cliffs. You're looking at this, looking at that. So yeah, I mean, if anyone's interested, both of us are more than happy.
Yeah. You can always go to Bushwackos. It's a Facebook page that I started. It's fun. There's a lot of people on there that are avid bushwhackers from all over New York. A lot of Catskill bushwhackers are on there as well. But it really is that I didn't come up with a Bushwacko name myself. A buddy of mine, Jim Hobson, did, and he's like, we must be wacko. And I'm like, Bushwackos, that's perfect. Yep. And it's
fitting.
It is
a
fitting.
Unique breed for sure.
It is. There's people on there that don't really bushwhack, but they enjoy seeing pictures and following what other people do. And, it's a great place to start for sure. You can ask questions and you can get some good, solid, safe, and educated answers on that page, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Which is important because there's people out there like, oh yeah, McNaughton's easy, or, the Trap Dyke's a fun hike. And Trap Dyke's not a hike.
Sure.
It's a legit climb.
Yeah.
People with dogs, Gravestone Brook, going up Dial, that's a popular bushwhack. And that's the thing. I mean, people that are hiking the trails, they are kind of getting into some bushwhacking stuff. But even those smaller ones, going to Shepherd's Tooth, like, you got to respect that. Especially if you drop down to Coldbrook Pass from Shepherd's Tooth. Like, you can get in a lot of trouble down there if you don't know where to go. So, yeah, I mean, we're both more than happy to kind of pass the torch. Like I said, Spencer's been super helpful for me, and, like, I want to pass that on to someone else. And
great. It's kind of you. As I mentioned earlier in the episode, being willing to do that for other people, to just, this is a hobby. It's not like, no one's changing the world here by hiking mountains or bushwhacking or this or that. I mean, it's a hobby. So the fact that you're willing to understand that and share your experience is incredible, because not a lot of people are doing that these days. So where can people find you online, Sam? I know, Spencer, you said ADK Peak Survey on Instagram. Sam, where can people find you?
So yeah, I tend to use Instagram more than anything nowadays. My screen name on there is the Sam Perkins. Apparently there's another